This is Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Television. My name is Joshua Ishaya, welcoming you to yet another fresh episode of the program Back to Farm. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, Back to Farm is a program that tells you all you need to know to go to farm and also what we need to start the best practices in agriculture. And today on the program, we'll be looking at bull and ram fattening. As a modification of an extensive system of animal production, fattening of bulls and ram is a feedlot. It's one of the best options of increasing animal protein supply. Meat production from cattle and sheep and even goats in Nigeria is almost entirely extensive with low input. This traditional method of domestic meat animal production results in low productivity due to the fact that animals receive the bulk of their nutrition from overgrazed ranges, which are poor in quality. Furthermore, the size of such range is declining due to their use for industries, including new agricultural development projects devoted to especially crop production. The traditional system of meat animal production cannot thus be expected to meet the future demand for beef and mutton in particular and animal protein in general. This episode of the program is going to be telling you all you need to know on how to fatten your bull, or better still cow, popularly called in Nigeria, or your ram. Stay tuned. As a modification of an intensive system of animal production, fattening of bulls and ram in a feedlot is one of the best options of increasing animal protein supply. Meat production from cattle and sheep and even goats in Nigeria is almost entirely extensive with low inputs. This traditional method of domestic meat animal production results in low productivity due to the fact that animals receive the bulk of their nutrition from overgrazed ranges, which are poor in quality. Furthermore, the size of such ranges is declining due to their use for industries, including new agricultural development projects devoted to especially crop production. The traditional system of meat animal production cannot thus be expected to meet the future demands for beef, feeding young cattle and sheep, whereby the yield of edible carcass is increased by 30 to 40% during a short period. Fattening offers a rapid means for enhancing productivity. Thus, fattening has a role to play in a situation where range cattle are so undernourished that a short period on high level of nutrition is necessary to increase their productivity and to prepare them for markets. The feedlot system, therefore, is complementary to the existing system of raising animals on range, not one of substitution of a new technology for an existing one. The aim of this mini documentary is to discuss the bull and ram fattening using feeding and management options that can be applied to the level of large and small-scale producers. This documentary will focus on capital, housing, accommodation, purchase of animal, feeds, and feeding. Now, let's look at the capital. By capital, it means money with which to start the business of fattening. Such money should be available for purchase of animals and construction of building or structures, for handling of animals, for purchase of equipment, provision of feeds, and for hiring labor. Money can be loaned from banks or friends if the operator of a fattening project cannot produce it himself. How about the housing and accommodation? Fatteners' bulls should be accommodated in a fenced feedlot without roof. The fence should be built with strong wooden or iron poles. Ideally, each bull should be allowed a space of 25 to 6 centimeters and feeding space of 2.53 meters. The feedlot should be divided into pens depending on the number of animals. For example, a feedlot designed to contain 300 animals could be partitioned into 6 equal pens with the animals equally distributed in the pens. An inexpensive accommodation for 3 bulls similar to the one used by the farmers under the smallholder fattening scheme organized by the National Livestock Project Department can be built with a fairly strong wire gauze and strong wooden poles within a farmer's premises. In it, the bull are fed concentrate in the morning and evening with grazing in between. The scheme is designed to introduce farmers to small-scale fattening of large animals as an enterprise and do appropriate fattening techniques. Similar accommodation for a few rams and bucks fatten for celebrations. Take approximate design as these animals are managed and fed homestead. Construct simple and expensive housing for your fattener animal. Housing could be made of mud bricks or cement blocks with plenty of ventilation. Corrugated iron sheet or thatch should be used for roofing. The house can be in the shape of a poultry type, divided into pens with space allowance of 1 meter per animal. Adequate ventilation is necessary for escape of odor that is usually associated with sheep and goat pens. The house should be fitted with designs to hold racks for hay and salt licks where necessary. Now, let's look at the equipment needed for bull and ram fattening. You need simple equipment for a fattening operation, and they include troughs for feed and water and hay racks. Construct the water and feed trough from cut half drums, as they cannot be easily damaged. From plastic and metals buckets or basins can be used for feeding and watering fatteners. In a large-scale fattening operation, feeders and waterers can be made of concrete, since they last much longer than cut drums and buckets. A feedlot designed to turn out about 300 animals per period must necessarily need concentrate feeders and waterers. Other equipment needed for such large enterprise include spray rails or dip for routine spraying or dipping of animals against external parasites, weighing bridge for bulls or other weighing of animals during sales as the need arises, a loading and unloading area especially for bulls, a treatment crush, an overhead water tank, an office, store for feeds, a quarantine which should be removed to some distance from the feedlot strong plastic basin. Now, let's look at the section on purchase of animals. Bulls and rams selected for feedlot should be lean and healthy. This is because they are less expensive for reason of their physical appearance and are capable of responding fast to good feeding within the fasting period, as well as to make good returns better than animals that are well fed at purchase time. Such lean animals principally lay down more of marbling fat found within ultra and ultramuscular areas than sebaceous fat, which no one wants. Breeds of bulls, rams, and bucks adapted to an ecological zone should be preferred for fattening. Purchase of fattening animals, especially for large-scale operation, should be at the terminal markets, preferably during the middle of dry season when feed is scarce and farmers are willing to let go their animals for lack of feeds. A fattening program involves finishing young animals in a restricted area where feed and water can be provided. Age range for fattener bulls should be between 2 years or 180 to 200 kg weight. Rams for fattening should be between 1% or 3 years and weigh between 22 to 30 kg for the large indigenous breed, namely Balami, Uda and Yankasa, and 16 of 20 kg for the small or dwarf breeds of the forest zone. Now, let's talk about the castration. Young bulls for fattening may or may not be castrated in Nigeria, but ram, lambs, and young bucks for fattening should be castrated within 3 months of birth. Such animals on fattening look smoother and bigger. Rams for religious festival need not to be castrated, for it is forbidden in other advanced countries. Steers castrated are preferred for feedlot, while in Europe, young uncastrated bulls are preferred because of their faster growth rate. They are said to have better feed conservation efficiency and heavier carcass. Newly purchased fattener animals should be quarantined for about 30 days, during which they are given prophylactic treatment with coccidiostats and antiemetics. These animals also should be dipped or sprayed against the pricks and other ectoparasite. In both castration dipping, a veterinarian should be consulted. Feeds and feeding. Feeds for feedlot animals include broths, concentrates, water minerals, and vitamin premix. Since ruminants, including bulls and rams, utilize roughage to a large extent in meeting their nutrient requirements. Sources of roughage include grass and legumes, hay, cereals, crop residues, corn cobs, sugarcane baggages, and their likes. Under this feed regime, about 3 bulls can be fattened under the smallholder fattening scheme. Fattener bulls are fed one of the following concentrate ration options: molasses, cottonseed cake, grazing, wheat bran, molasses, groundnut cake, wheat bran, grazing. Fattener bulls fed any of the ration above should be ready for market within 120 days. Groundnut cake is very high in protein and energy, and for this reason is expensive. Farmers must exercise care to feed their animals accurately so that the concentrate is not wasted. Groundnut cake, wheat bran, and molasses must be fed, mixed together, and offered to each animal half in the morning and half in the evening. If legume hair is available enough to replace grass, hay or grazing, it should be fed at the rate of 2.3 kg per animal per day. Ram and bucks for fattening can be fed 1 kg legume hay and only per head daily. The ration should be divided into two parts and fed in the morning and evening. When this is not available, rams or bucks can fatten well on concentrate mixtures on the ration option mentioned later in this write-up. Mixing feed for animals. Concentrates such as cereals, oilseed, cakes, minerals, and vitamin premix are sources of feed for fattener animals because energy supply from rockages is usually insufficient for feedlot animals. The feeding of concentrate becomes necessary. A concentrated to roved ratio of 40 to 60 is recommended for fattening. A ratio of 60 to 40 is more qualitative. A fattener bull receiving about 6.5 kg feed daily will be ready for market in about 90 days. Large-scale fattening operation has always involved the use of maize or guinea corn as a major source of energy. However, these cereal grains are staple food for man. It is usually for maize or guinea corn to be used as ruminant animals feed except in very restricted quantities. For this reason, recent investigation into development operation for feedlot animals has tended to eliminate the use of maize or guinea corn, as can be seen from some of the rice options shown later in this write-up. Now let's talk about the water. Regular supply of clean and cool drinking water is important because of the role of water in the digestion of food, absorption and transportation of nutrients in the body of animals. Water should be given free choice to feedlot animals. A bull required not less than 100 liters and ram or buck not less than 20 liters of water per day, especially during dry season. Feed should be properly handled in order to avoid wastage. Hay should be stored in barns as soon as it is purchased or produced to avoid unnecessary exposure to heat and rain to discourage fermentation. Concentrate also should be properly handled and stored to eschew termites and rodent attack. Poor feed handling reduces the nutritive value of feeds. Ration options. Depending on his economy, a feedlot operator can choose the ration to be fed to its animals from the following mixture. The option chosen also depends on the feed ingredients available in the area. Whichever ration mixture is chosen, if properly managed, is capable of encouraging similar rapid weight gain in animals. Components should be mixed together on a clean cement floor or mat or similar material. Back stores and fed is necessary, and animals should receive between 2 to 2.5% to 3% of its body weight in terms of its daily feed requirement. For example, if a bull is taken for fattening at 200 kg body weight, its daily ration of concentrate or rough should be calculated based on the above range of percentage, depending on the ability of the animals to consume feed. For heavy eaters, the quantity of feed should be calculated upward to 3% of the animal's body weight. Thus, based on 3.0 body weight, the quantity of ration for 200 kg bull will be calculated. The bull's daily ration should be made of 2.4 kg of concentrate and 3.6 kg of roughage. One half of the concentrate should be fed in the morning and another half in the evening. The usual practice is to feed the roughage by free choice so that in the end the animal will do selective feeding and will have consumed about 3.6 kg of hay per day. However, feedlot animals are usually fed together, and for this reason, the amount of concentrate or hay is calculated based on the number of animals to be fed, and such amount of feed is provided and put together accordingly. The optimal marketing weight for feedlot bull is 300 kg, and for rams is 35 kg. Additional weight beyond these tend to encourage disposition of some continuous fat. Dressing percentage is between 50 to 51%. Ideal carriers yield is high quality and meats with less waste. Let's look at the profit motive. Profit motive is an important driving force for a successful fattening operation. For this and other reasons, a decision should be made on the choice of between homegrown and purchased feed for the operation. A feedlot operator may decide in the advance to partially produce his own feeds. Generally, net returns are higher in feedlots than produce their own feeds, grain, and roughage. Record keeping. Record keeping is one of the pillars of good fattening scheme. A fattening record gives about. Record keeping is one of the pillars of good fattening scheme. A fattening record gives about the fatness of feedlot animals. It also enables the farmer to know the efficiency of meat production. How much kilogram of the feed produce a kilogram of meat? For instance, 6.5 kg feed intake gives a kilogram of beef. A record should contain information on the date the fattener, the animals enter the leaf and feedlot, the regular weighing dates and weight obtained, as well as the amount of feed on the offer. And a simple record should before embarking on a cattle fattening cycle, due diligence must be taken because wrong choices can leave the farmer in the red. There is need to assess the potential for beef fattening of various cattle breeds in relation to the market price of various meat grades when purchasing the animals. Age, gender, maturity type, and the breed's cattle are all important considerations. This is due to the fact that different breeds react differently to fattening. There are businesses that sell feed or fattening cattle. These comprehensive balanced meals are intended for up to 90 or so of feedlot fattening. The stock feed are high energy fattening meals that are nutrient rich and deal for ad-lib fattening of cattle pens. Farmers can also make use of homemade feed for the beef fattening. The amount of feed the cattle eat each day will vary depending on the weight and age, the cost of the feed, the price and margin, feed margin, the feed conservation efficiency ratio, and unit cost per kilogram when selling affect profitability of the cattle feedlot operations. Cattle fattening in line with government livestock growth plan, whose aim is to make Nigerian livestock sector a 19.7 billion industry by 2025. The key pillars of the plan include animal nutrition, and a genetic improvement program in cattle fattening comes in handy for the achievement of this plan.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria (ARCN) coordinates the activities of research institutes and is responsible for supervision, regulation, coordination of research activities and programs of higher institutions in Nigeria. I'm Professor Hamidu Shaributu since assumption as Executive Secretary of ARCN in April 2020 has solidified the transformation of agriculture in Nigeria through strategic and meaningful execution of research findings for improvement of the agricultural sector.
For grains, we have the parabolic solar dryers. These are specialized solar dryers used for drying agricultural produce such as whole grains, yam and cassava chips, fruits and vegetables more efficiently. It is made of a special material that concentrates the rays of the sun within the enclosure while eliminating harmful ultraviolet radiation. Products dried are free from contaminants and are hygienic.
The parabolic shaped solar dryer is a need-based technology because virtually when we travel all over the country, you will see by the roadside, you see people drying all sorts of agricultural produce. Some spread their own on bare ground, and by the time the vehicles are moving, the dust stay on the products. The reptiles will come, they will eat whatever they can eat, drop their feces and their urine on it, and the owner comes in the evening to pack everything together and still eat that product. And the product has been contaminated, and we feel this is not right, and it is part of our mandate to make sure that we set it right, and that was what led to this, so that we can solve this problem at the grassroots level. Instead of drying by the roadside, drying on just bare ground in their villages, when they have this as a drying center, everybody in the community can bring their product there, spread on the tray, and they get it dry under hygienic condition that is covered. And the dryer also have another property to screen the ultraviolet ray of the sun, which is also can cause hazard to human health.
Welcome to Federal College of Land Resources Technology, Kuru, Jos, Plateau State.
The atomic absorption spectrophotometer, AFS, is an instrument which is used for the determination of metals that are dissolved in source.
Plantation. Put it like one. Welcome to production farms, where we're going to take you around our production tanks and a practical fisheries and integrated farm. We integrate the farming system with a banana and plantain and so many aquatic animals.
Since then, Professor Shaributu has operated as visionary captain by restoring the council's glory with the first ever agricultural television and radio station in Nigeria, with well-equipped studios parading state-of-the-art equipment.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria also has a brand new electronic library to further promote research and visualizations of deep thoughts on agricultural development in Nigeria.
The museum, located in the Senator Abdullahi Adamu Center, is an agricultural museum saddled with the responsibility of keeping records of agricultural findings, discoveries, researches for continuity and history purposes.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria is wearing a new look under the stewardship of Professor Garba Hamidu Shaributu, who says, "Alone, I am nothing, but together, I am something." ARCN,
promoting agriculture.
On that note, we come to the end of the program Back to Farm, where we looked at bull and ram fattening. This is the first agricultural TV station. My name remains Joshua Ishaya. Thanking you for being a part of it. Have yourself a wonderful day ahead. Bye for now.